So, you don't, I doubt very much you have a helium leak detector here.
Was that?
You don't have a helium leak detector?
No.
Okay. So, if you don't have it, okay, you need to be, you have to kind of check it through another method. It's not nearly as good. So,
What's that?
what we're going to do is determine the rate of rise. So, how you determine?
That's for what?
For this, we need to know our rise over a minute. Because whenever we load the ampules on, we got to check it to make sure it's about the same. We don't want to have it where it's too far out.
So you say it's a heat detector.
What?
You say it's helium?
Helium leak detector. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. It's nice. It's the best way for checking for leaks. But if you don't have it, then we have to do it another way.
Okay.
So, how you do it another way is you get a stopwatch on your phone.
Okay.
Come down if there's, normally it'll be running something like this. After you heat up and everything. It'll be running some sort of pressure. Now the rate of rise here is not going to be representative of what it normally should be because we just started running the heaters and everything and it's still conditioning, so it's going to be a little bit high. On a good system, you should be about 10 millitorr over a minute is your rise over a minute. This will be higher because it's still conditioning, but we're going to run through it anyway. So normally you already have it heated and you're running some sort of gas flow. And this is also a point where if you were going to do this loading and unloading the ampules, you have to do it whenever everything's heated. So allow for the 2 hours on that also, the temperature to equilibrate. So what you do is you zero all flows, that shuts all your argon gas flow, and then you hit off all valves. And you wait till this drops out. It's settling in around 6 millitorr right now. This should be a little bit better tomorrow. And you wait till it comes to a steady state. Then what you do, note that, in this case it's 6. We're going to shut off the valve and we're going to start. And we're going to wait for a minute.
For a minute.
So that shows you your rise?
Yeah, that's your rise.
And what did you say it should be at?
Should be less than 10 millitorr over a minute, but this is still conditioning with the temperature and everything, so it's going to be higher than that right now. If it's sat overnight and allowed it to heat and outgas on the walls, anything if that goes to the walls, and then it would be lower. So we're going to watch it for a minute.
Seems low then.
Okay, so almost 50 millitorr. So it's 5 times higher than what it should be. That's not a surprise since we just started really pumping and heating it. But that's before we put any ampules from 50 millitorr. So if I put an ampule on here and I have this valve open, if that seal is good, then we should still have around 50 millitorr over a minute. If it's much higher than that, say 300 millitorr, and this is where my 10 little buddies were at, chances are that gasket's leaking. Helium leak detector, there's no gray. If you're leaking or not leaking. You don't have one, so this is the next method. So we're going to load the water first. So here's a plug, and here's a nut that goes up into this ALD valve. So this is 5/8 and 3/4. Now this is 150 degrees C. So you can touch this, this is silicone, but that's a little warm. So you're gonna open that. Put my finger here just so it don't freeze spin, but this is still pretty warm. Not hot enough to burn, but hot enough you don't want to hold it.
Yeah.
Let me just set it up there. Now the ampules, they'll have usually a valve like this. This one has a different valve, not sure why. But you can take a crescent wrench. If you have a hood, it's best to do a hood, but I don't think you have a hood in here. So you crack it and then close it back up. So if you have a reaction, if that valve's leaking, you'll get like a little puff of something. This is just water, you won't see it, but it's a good practice anyway. So that had a copper gasket just to protect the seat. You'll need a nickel or a stainless gasket. Don't run copper with chemistry. You'll want to get a bunch of those.
Oh, okay, from?
You can get it from us, and you can probably order it from Swatch. Now these have the clips on them, and it'll snap right onto that. These,
Just wafers.
you can also get these in nickel and stainless. They don't have the clip, but they fall off real easy. These are a little bit more expensive. Well, how I found it best is you have 3 tabs that are on there. So I take 2 tabs and I push it over onto the 3rd tab. Make sure you wear gloves. So that's how that sits on there. Then come up underneath, and you can try to turn that nut, or you can turn the ampule, and you'll feel it kind of stop. And that's the point where you kind of move it around until you get the valve out to where you want it. I have the valve, I have the wrench,
Do you know turn this sensor?
the thermocouple.
Yeah.
It's mine, I'm not worried about it.
Oh.
I just don't want to take it off right now.
Okay.
I could take it off and strip it all away, but you don't need this for water. This again was just demonstration for the
demo.
PowerPoint. So I'm holding the valve with the crescent wrench, and then I get it to where it stops, the mechanical stop. Then I go a little bit more. You gotta be careful because this is all stainless, it's malleable, you can bend that valve. So I went about 1/8 of a turn against Swatch recommends a 1/4 turn. So that is the water ampule. This is a TMA. Who wants to do this one?
You can do it, no problem.
Sure. Talk.
Read it.
Well,
About on the source 3.
this comes over here. And you should always use safety glasses or whatever. I would get gloves on.
You know that they're not giving out figures.
Again, if you have a hood, good to do a hood. Do you grab any gloves?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's definitely good to have some sort of safety glasses on.
Use my glasses.
This will go up into here. This is 3A.
Oh.
3B.
So 3A, 3B saga, that means we can put like 2, 3.
You can do C, D, and E. You can upgrade later if you want.
Yeah, but that we have 2, then we have the option to put 2 here.
Oh yeah. So you
Different
can do.
material, the same material?
I would do something different.
Different
So
material.
yeah. So if you wanted to do hafnium or zirconium, you could put the hafnium or zirconium here and have the heater jacket for that one.
Are you on
Or
that?
The TMA doesn't have to, it doesn't need to be heated.
zirconium.
Zirconium or hafnium may have to be heated. Depends on what you do. If you're doing oxide, some people do hafnium oxide. Some people do zirconium oxide. Some people stay with aluminum oxide. Some people are running cobalt or titanium or whatever you want to do. So, come over this way and then I'll squeeze out. So on the bottom here, this heater jacket's a little bit thicker. But you got the plug and you got the nut. The nut is up in there. Okay, it's up higher. So you got to get that plug out first.
Right there.
So that, no,
The plug is 3/4?
the nut is 3/4, the plug's 5/8. I don't know if you have enough to get that box end on. But
I can't do this shit.
It's a bigger torch.
But you gotta turn the plug out. Here, hold the nut and turn the plug. Benji? You watching?
Yeah, but this is not pretty fun.
Yeah, these are.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I'll just set that up there. Now the TMA, you gotta make sure, anytime you have chemistry, especially if it's paraphoric, make sure the valve's closed. And
And
this,
so you would not expose that to oxygen like you did the other one. You try to bleed it.
I didn't bleed that one either.
Well, I thought you turned this set on top and bled it and said it's good practice to bleed them out first.
Like little
I
puff.
never
Okay,
opened that valve.
okay.
So in this case, I'll hold it for now, but I'll take this cap, 3/4 on that one.
Okay.
What you want to do is, this is tight, so you want to crack it open and close.
Okay.
And then, okay, that's fine. Sometimes, if the valve's leaking by, you get a little whiff.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't get a little whiff.
So if there is a whiff, what are we supposed to take?
Then you could call Strum and have it sent back. And say to Manuel's valve's leaking by, and they'll send it back, replace the valve and come
Replace
back.
another.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's the best.
And so that's when you know that this valve is faulty?
Yeah, so you always check that. Now, I've had it where they leak by and, you take the cap off and then poof, you got a fire,
Yeah.
So that was just the gasket that came off of here.
You get another one right
So
here.
there's one I already have set. So you keep this and snap that on. Be careful around the valve. Okay. So now you can see how that nut's kind of stuck up in there.
Yeah.
You have the choice of folding the nut,
Alright, there it is, right there.
or sometimes you can screw that up in there, get the thread started.
Yeah. I thought we out anyway.
Sometimes it'll grab first. Sometimes you gotta hold it.
I think the grass.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, this jacket's
Normally don't have this valve.
you normally have the valve that goes straight across.
Yeah, like the red valve.
Right.
Give me a sec.
You need to get in there? Yeah, I can hold that if you want.
Okay, get a feel for that. How it's stopping.
No.
Okay. So now you know you're good.
You know, maybe you're kind of neat turn,
So I want to get this to where it's out.
so you can access it.
There it is.
It's much better to have the other manual valves.
It might have been easier to put the water there and then that there, but
You shouldn't do it like that.
yeah.
So for this, just get a feel for how I have this set.
We got a temporary license, so.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then loosen it again, because you didn't compress down on that gasket.
I'm gonna.
Loosen it to its three.
Just because it's gonna be.
Okay. Feel that?
Yeah.
So get it back to where you're touching again. Yeah, I know, it's tough.
So I just do that.
Okay, so the valve is out. Now here,
Now you're gonna hold that and then give this like an
Yeah.
8 turn.
now you gotta have this kind of like at an angle,
Okay.
okay? So go ahead. You think it's good?
It's pretty taut.
Okay. So, we think we got a decent seal. Now we're gonna check it. How do we check it?
Do the same mechanics as before.
Do the same thing, but
But if this still done, it's
we're gonna do a pump purge first.
Oh, but this way, oh, yeah.
So we're gonna come up,
That's right.
how you do it, and I have a procedure for this. I'll give you. You come up, have a pump in with the temperature, and you run an AOD IDF recipe. Okay, now we're gonna go to the deposition screen. I'm kind of jumping